Let's do it here on a Friday. Welcome into Stadium Pulse, presented by Nimnik Buick GMC on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. I'm Jason Hamby, and football is back. Sigh of relief, everybody. Today is August 1st. August 1st, football month. And we got a lot to get to. We got a little bit of a taste last night at the professional level with the Hall of Fame game. I got to watch what I thought was going to be a DJU hype train show. It didn't end up being that. I think he threw 3 passes in the second half. Didn't even know he was on the Chargers. But all you FSU fans, I'm sure you were locked in to watch DJU throw the pigskin around a couple of times last night. Fall camps underway across college football. Most of them started either Wednesday or Thursday of this week. We're going to get to the biggest questions that need to be solved. If you watch Stadium Pulse on Fridays, every Friday, 9 to 10 a.m., you know the 5 schools that we lock in on each and every week, from Georgia, Florida, Miami, UCF, and FSU. The biggest questions in those camps, the battles, and what needs to be resolved before week 1. We got 4 weeks, guys. 4 weeks from tomorrow, we're going to be plopped down on our couch watching ball. And you're going to have to probably get out the ESPN Plus app for a lot of them, with Georgia playing, I believe, Marshall, Florida playing Long Island. We got some cupcakes, but we've got some really good ones as well around that time. 4 weeks away. August is football month. We got a loaded show for you today. DJ Lagway, he is going to headline the show. We already see him in the chat. DJ out of his boot this morning. We're going to get to that. And look, we got SEC preseason awards. We got Arch Manning's 2026 plans. Everybody wants to tell you he's going to go to the Browns and be the first overall pick, huh? All right. We'll see about that. Kirby Smart's presser. A lot of interesting details coming out of Georgia's camp. And the inexperience of that group. And again, the biggest questions so far for camp. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Let's get right to it. DJ Lagway reportedly is out of the boot. This was another kind of, this was a surprising one about a week ago now. After all that's happened with him this offseason, the whole shoulder thing, over the spring, right? Barely practiced because of the shoulder. Was he going to have surgery? Was he not? He didn't have surgery, but he never really practiced. Started to get healthy. Then we get last week, DJ Lagway's on campus in a boot. So Billy Napier's forced to address it. He did so, I believe, 2 days ago, said he's day-to-day. They're not overly concerned about it. Florida fans can breathe a sigh of relief. Okay? What I'm here to tell you, Florida fans, is that you shouldn't be breathing too big of a sigh of relief. Because your guy needs reps. And it's good news this morning for y'all that he's out of the boot. Right? It sounds like he's going to get his whole fall camp in. Now, but just because he's out of a boot doesn't mean he's taking 11 on 11 reps. Right? You don't go from boot one day, full go the next. So, but a couple of things can pretty much be for sure. He's not going to miss any game time action, right? He's going to be full go for the start of the season. But my big thing is that's not really where we should be concerned, where we should be spending our time, okay? The guy's barely practiced in college. Not even this offseason. He barely practiced last spring, right? He gets thrown into the fire last year. And let me preface, before I even go any further, y'all know I'm a dog. I think I had, and I'll reference it here in a couple minutes. We're gonna get to it. I think DJ Lagway is a top 5 quarterback in college football. I think he's amazing. I think he's the purest thrower, maybe tied for first in the game. That doesn't mean there's still not concerns. The guy gets thrown into the fire last year after not practicing. Okay? And look, he shows a lot of good stuff. I mean, won Florida a lot of football games down the stretch, some that he probably shouldn't have won. Right? And everybody's going to go back and forth about the Georgia game in Jacksonville. We don't have time for all that today. Nonetheless, he's out with the shoulder all spring this year. Now he's out for the summer, last couple of weeks, with the boot. At least just not able to do all of his training, all of those things. Obviously, team not practicing these last couple of weeks. Now they're wrapping up fall camp. We'll see if there's an update on his status in the next couple of days. But DJ Lagway needs reps bad. Bad. Just because he's a top 5 quarterback, this is not some grizzled vet that can just go all offseason, miss the entire offseason program, just do his individual stuff, and you throw him in there come game time, and he's all good to go. The guy's played 9 games of college football. He's probably, how many practices has he? He's played in more games than he has full participant in practice. Obviously, that's hyperbole. But he's barely practiced all of this year, and he barely practiced before the season last year. All of his reps in game. Okay, and this is not a grizzled vet. Especially on a team where you have 2 of your 3 receivers are brand new. One's a true freshman. One's an incoming transfer. And then you have Trey Wilson, who missed a lot of time last year. It's not exactly like DJ Lagway and Trey Wilson have the utmost rapport between each other. Okay? This is not, we're just going to throw you out there and you're going to know the system. If you've watched DJ Lagway play, last year you saw the flashes. He looked like a freshman quarterback. If you take away the Stanford game, guys, he threw 9 touchdowns and 9 picks. Some of the throws are off the charts. I don't know how many quarterbacks in college football can make them. On the other side, he's still making decisions where inexcusable. How could he looks like a guy who hadn't practiced at times last year. And not just in the Tulane game, in the bowl game, because he definitely looked like it there. 9 touchdowns, 9 picks if you take away the Stanford game, because he threw 3 touchdowns in that one and no interceptions. And by the way, he was a 58% passer with the Stanford game. Now, Florida's not an offense where you're going to complete 80%, right? Because he's play action, deep shot, trying to throw the ball over your head all the time. Okay, so he's never going to get to that clip. But 58%, again, DJ Lagway needs reps in practice against a real defense. You're about to get where, if you want to compare him to other college quarterbacks, right, that he'll be playing this year, I have more confidence that Carson Beck knows the offense at Miami almost as good as DJ Lagway knows the offense at Florida. Beck's now full participant, right? He's fully cleared. He's obviously got a whole new system, obviously transferring to Miami. He's going to be ready to go. He's kind of a guy that you could say, all right, well, at least at the college level, we can kind of throw him out there. He's a vet for the college game. This is his 5th offseason. The guy's very cerebral. Maybe it didn't look like that against Florida last year, but over the course of his career, that's what he's been. Gunnar Stockton has done 3 times the amount of practice that DJ Lagway has. Now, again, we're going to talk about practice. But, if you want to say it's biased, you could say it's biased. Everybody knows that Georgia's practices are different. You take away the 9 games from DJ Lagway and just talk about actual reps, and don't tell me they don't matter for a guy who's a year out of high school football. Gunnar Stockton's going into year 3. He's had 3 off seasons at Georgia practicing. Obviously, 6 quarters of real action against Texas and against Notre Dame. But Florida, you guys play in 4 weeks. Like, do you really want a quarterback that, 58%? I just don't know how much better DJ Lagway's been able to get this offseason. You guys go to Death Valley in 6 weeks. You think he's going to be ready? I don't. I don't think there's any shot. I'm certainly not going to pick you to win that football game. But I think, look, I mean, you have one camp of Florida fans who's, not concerned at all because he's not going to miss game time action. Yeah, the other side that's incredibly concerned just because he's been out, and they're thinking that he's going to miss action when all reports and logic tell you that he's not. But I think this is a big deal, man. If you don't practice and you were a true freshman last year, and your ratio was about even, touchdowns, interceptions, that's a thing, man. That's a thing. You're not going to get over that by taking 9 months off without playing against your own defense. Be prepared to watch DJ Lagway look like a freshman quarterback for the first couple weeks of the season, if not more. I mean, it's well chronicled. Florida's got the toughest schedule supposedly in college football, and I believe it's got to be up there. The supposedly there is just because we'll see. I'm sure maybe by the season's end, another team is there, but you don't necessarily have a month to settle in. If you're Lagway, you got the first 2 weeks against Long Island and USF. You can run Harrison Bailey out there, and you'll get those wins. Or Aiden Warner. Have a day, bud. But then you go to Death Valley, and then you go to Miami, and then you play Texas at home, and then you go to College Station. There ain't much settling in time here. He needs to be full participant in practice ASAP. Or it might be bad news come week 3 against Garrett Nussmeier. It might be real bad. I just don't think we get the DJ Lagway that we know that he can be. If DJ Lagway is a full participant and everything's trending up all offseason, you got him as probably a 30-10 kind of guy. 4,000 passing yards, 68% completion. There's no shot I'm putting him at 30-10 right now. Touchdowns, interceptions. You might want to trace it back. I mean, LSU, I don't think is going to have the best defense in the world, but shoot, neither did Tulane. And miss me with who played and who didn't. I get it. I'm not talking about the final score of the football games. I'm talking about the decisions the quarterback made, which are totally separate from who's on the field and who's not. Failing to read defenses. Missing timing with receivers. What you're going to get. It's what you want to get. Again, man, I mean, Gunnar Stockton's almost a more experienced college passer than DJ Lagway. As much in-game, real deal, 11-on-11 simulated stuff that Georgia does in practice, nothing replaces the game. I get it. But reading defenses, all that, I don't care if DJ Lagway played 9 games last year and Gunnar Stockton played 1.5. Who knows their system better? Who's more comfortable? It's Stockton. I mean, not that we have to compare the two of them every time because DJ Lagway is much more talented. And we'll get into Gunnar Stockton a lot more the next couple of weeks and why I think he'll surprise some people. But nonetheless, get Lagway in there, full participant as soon as possible, or it's big trouble. All right, SEC preseason awards. Just want to touch on this real quick. Garrett Nussmeier was predicted to be the player of the year. Okay. I have been telling you for 6 months, really since the end of December last year, that I thought Garrett Nussmeier was going to be the best quarterback this year. The best quarterback in college football. The number one quarterback drafted. Now, I think Lenore Sellers is right there. But as far as a pure passer, it's Nussmeier. 100%. I'm going to pull this up. Here it is. This is, keep in mind, as soon as you look at this is from February when we did this graphic on this show. I had Garrett Nussmeier number 1. I had Carson Beck at number 2. Now, nobody's going to like that. I get it. Whatever. At the end of the day, Carson Beck didn't have a good year last year. Georgia fans are going to blame that on Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator. I'm going to put partial blame on Beck. I'm going to put a lot of blame on our receivers who just got drafted, I know, late in the NFL based off of athleticism. Arian Smith won us a couple football games, also lost us a couple football games and made Carson Beck look really bad. You can attribute a handful of those picks to one player, number 11, Arian Smith, last year. Okay, Lenore Sellers, if I had to do it again, he'd be higher. He'd be 2. Drew Aller is apparently, what the media would tell you is the best quarterback in this season. And, of course, everybody's going to tell you Penn State is the favorite to win the national championship, which let me know when they beat a top 10 team first. Let's just start there. And then, as I said, don't come at me saying that the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of today's show are just because I don't think I'm hating on DJ Lagway. I got him at 5. The 5th best quarterback in college football this year. And a lot of this was based off of week 1. I think Carson Beck will be better week 1 than DJ Lagway. By week 12, probably be different. But entering the season, this is what I've got. And obviously one name, more notably than most, has been left off of this. It's Arch Manning. Arch Manning, not on my top 5. Okay? The guy barely played. Had 2 starts last year. One of them shouldn't even count. It's a shame almost. It's a shame what the media is trying to do with Arch Manning already. The media is going to tell you that he's already the number 1 overall pick, that the Browns are going to draft him, that the Browns are tanking for Arch Manning, that Nick Saban is coming out of retirement because he has a relationship with the Mannings, and he would do it if he was guaranteed to get Arch Manning. I mean, it's total bull. Is Arch Manning going to be a really good football player? Absolutely. Absolutely. But he's already going to win the Heisman. He's already going to be the number 1 overall pick. He's the best prospect since Trevor Lawrence. The guy's got 2 starts in college football. 2. And here's the deal. I don't even think that he's coming out next year. Let's just stop right here. Before we get to where he's going to be drafted and to what team, why don't we think actually logically, if he's even going to come out? The guy's got 2 starts. Can we let the guy play football first? Because here's what the Mannings. Let me take you down a little logic train right quick. Okay. Here's what the Mannings aren't concerned about: money, First of all, the family's got enough. Second of all, Arch has plenty. Right? And with the new revenue sharing, who knows how much he's actually going to be making these next couple of years. But this year, it's probably in the $5 million range. Yeah, he'd make a little bit more than that if he was the first overall pick, but not life-changing. He's not going from 0 to $40 million. So first of all, the money's not a factor at all. What is the biggest factor for Arch, who we never hear from? So we have to think about the family. Peyton, Eli, Archie, right? Didn't even mention his actual dad. What's the biggest factor for Arch Manning? It's long-term NFL success. No doubt about it. It's long-term NFL success. They want him to have an insane NFL career. And to do that, he's got to get to a second contract. Why do I say second contract? Rob, I'll let you know when to pull it up. Everybody, appreciate Rob real quick for sitting in for us today in the booth. There have been 5 quarterbacks in the last 13 years that were drafted in the first round after being one-year starters in college football. All of you people who want Arch Manning already to be the number 1 overall pick in 2026, you got him as a one-year starter with max, 17 starts if they were to go to the national championship. One-year starter. Obviously, everybody would have him in the first round. That's happened 5 times in the last 13 years. And here's the list of the 5 quarterbacks. Holy cow. Y'all want Arch Manning to be on this list? Since 2011, first-round quarterbacks that were one-year starters in college football. The best of them is Mitch Trubisky. The best of them. Obviously, he's a one-year starter at UNC. He gets drafted to the Bears. Disaster. Doesn't get a second contract. Couldn't even tell you which NFL team he's on right now. Maybe he's the backup in Buffalo. I don't know. Dwayne Haskins, one-year starter at Ohio State. Obviously highly touted. Has a great year. Goes to Washington. Disaster. Out of the league. Trey Lance, one-year starter. COVID shuts it down for 2020. 49ers say it doesn't matter. Drafts him 3rd overall. Disaster. Got to watch him play football last year. By the way, 13-20 for I think like 130 and 2 tuds. Yeah, Trey Lance. Showing that, just go ahead and disprove my graphic here. Was he on his 4th team? Mac Jones. Maybe he'll erase the narrative here. One-year starter at Bama. Goes to the Patriots. He's out. Now he's on his 3rd team. Obviously, well documented in Jacksonville. Appreciate him. But didn't work in New England. And then last but least, Anthony Richardson. One-year starter at Florida. Wasn't even that good. 20 years old. Gets drafted. Anybody want to bet that he's going to get a second contract in Indianapolis? I certainly wouldn't. It's a disaster. That guy ever goes 60% in a year, just because every throw is behind the line of scrimmage, and he has trouble with those. Freak athlete. Unbelievable potential. But, shoot. So that's your list. You don't think the Mannings know that? Sure, they think Arch Manning's different. I get it. But you don't think they know that one-year starters, it doesn't work. The last one, guys, was Cam Newton. The last one drafted in the first round. That was a one-year starter that actually made it to a second contract and had a good NFL career was Cam Newton. 14 years ago. So let's get through this year. Let's play a season opener first. How about that, Arch? Let's see what you got against Ohio State. Again, not hating on him. Totally directed at media and all this. I'm excited to see what he's got. But I'm not going to crown the dude just because of his last name. Now, at the same time, when he did play last year, yeah, pretty scary. The juke he put on that one poor DB in the spot start he had earlier in the season, it was a cupcake game. But the juke he put on that dude, it's like, that's not a 6'4" quarterback right there. But it was. And, yeah, I just think, look, let's get him through a couple of starts here. And it makes me wonder if you could poll the average college football fan, what they would tell you that Arch Manning's stat line would be this year. What are his expectations? Right? I know the team is ridiculously good. I know everybody's got Texas in the SEC championship. A lot of people have them in the national championship. I know Sark is a wizard on offense. He might be the number one offensive mind in college football. You can debate it. And they got weapons. They're going to really need Ryan Wingo to step up, but they got weapons. So he's going to be in a great position to succeed. But by how much? I'm telling you right now, I would still expect a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Closer to that than 3-to-1. 3-to-1's really the bar where you're really slinging it. And that's the highest level right there. I just don't expect that from the guy right away. I don't. You know, I mean, here's the other part. How much does Texas want him to run? If Arch Manning had it his way, maybe he'd run more. Maybe he'd run less. Maybe he wants to protect himself. I don't know what kind of guy he is. I don't know. But if I had to guess, I would say that Sark obviously is going to include it in the run game. It's definitely a weapon. I don't think he's going to want him running it 10 times a game. He's got to be, he's going to roll him out. He's going to get him on the move. He's going to get timely throws. Do you think he eclipses 4,000 yards? Love to see what the chat thinks. Appreciate everybody hopping in so far. Is Arch Manning eclipse 4,000 yards in this first year as a starter? Does he eclipse 30 touchdowns? I think if I had to put it right now, I'd say he gets 3,600 passing yards with 28 touchdowns, 13 picks. Maybe adds 400 on the ground because you got to keep in mind college football sacks count against your rushing yards. Fix it. Maybe 7 or 8 rushing touchdowns all in the red area. Maybe burst one long one like he did last year. But I just, look, and maybe it doesn't even matter. Because, look, if he goes against Ohio State and he wins the game, he wins the Heisman. Like, that's going to be the narrative. That's going to be the narrative. I don't care if he throws for 190 yards and throws 1 touchdown and 1 pick. If Texas wins the football game 4 or 5 weeks from now against Ohio State, pencil Arch Manning in to win the Heisman. It's going to be it. Wraps. I can't wait. I can't wait for that game. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited to watch that dude play. But dudes who are trying to make money off you and get clicks off you by telling you that the Browns are already eyeing him, that what's their GM's name? Andrew Berry is already eyeing him. Yeah, eyeing him as in knows who he is and is going to watch him play. Yeah, that's probably all 32 NFL teams. The notoriety is that big here. But the Saban stuff, get out of here. Throwing for 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns, out of here. Maybe we'll be clipping this. come season's end, it'll be the coldest take I have. But I just don't think it will be. Look, we got to take a break. When we come back, we got to get to some Kirby Smart stuff. He had a presser to start up fall camp, as did every coach. And his, I think, was a little especially interesting for not just Georgia fans, but the kind of current state of college football with the transiency, is that a word, of the rosters. Okay, and then we're going to get to the biggest camp question for all 5 schools. We'll start with UCF and their position battles there. Some interesting there. A lot of question marks have to be answered in the next 4 weeks before these schools get on the grass and start playing some football games. We'll get to that on the other side. Appreciate you watching Stadium Pulse. We'll be right back on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
Putting your needs first. It's the backbone of how First Florida Credit Union does business. In all honesty, you might as well be speaking another language when it comes to finances. Sure, I'm good with my money, but what am I missing in the fine print? That's what led me to First Florida Credit Union. They're the perfect choice for anyone starting their financial journey because they keep finances easy. Plus, they offer financial education and resources I can trust. So I'm always growing more confident. And as a young adult, I am constantly adding more responsibilities to my plate. From a car payment to a mortgage, it all adds up. Luckily, First Florida Credit Union makes sure it adds up in all the right places and not the wrong ones by offering better rates and lower fees than traditional banks, even if you're still trying to grow your credit. Because as a member-owned institution, First Florida genuinely puts people's needs first rather than focusing on profit. So I know as my needs change, they'll be right there to help me reach my goals. Check out firstflorida.org to learn how you can benefit too.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
It's fast-paced.
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
High fly.
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
Action-packed weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks. I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Welcome back to Stadium Pulse on a Friday. Appreciate you hanging out with us as we talk college football every Friday morning, 9 to 10 a.m. Of note for you, once football starts in a couple of weeks, once the games actually start rolling, we're going to be expanding here on Stadium Pulse. We're going to be joining you and talking ball with you Mondays as well. So we'll be Mondays and Fridays, 9 to 10 a.m. So I think it'll be a fun time to recap and review. Give us a little bit more time, fast-paced time to get to those weekend games that we just watched and watched together. So I hope some of y'all are looking forward to that as much as I am. Kirby Smart opened up his press conference yesterday, or 2 days ago, kind of talking about, look, this is kind of the healthiest team that he's had, one of his teams in the 10 that he's had at Georgia. 10th year, by the way, for Kirby Smart. It's kind of crazy. But nonetheless, healthiest team that he's had at this point in the offseason or in the process in his time, which is certainly encouraging. If you're a Dogs fan, because, look, you've got an inexperienced team. Now, last year, you were probably a little younger, right? You were inexperienced, but you were younger. But you also had a lot of guys, namely the dudes who just got drafted, the Becks, the Lovitts, the Malachi Starks, the Michael Williams, the Jalen Walkers, who have played a lot of football. So you had a big mix, right? You have that mix this year as well, but you just have a lot of guys. They're not necessarily as young, but they haven't seen in-game action as much. Okay? Now, Kirby Smart was asked about that yesterday. In the past, in the last couple of months, he's talked about that, voiced his concern about it. I think Georgia fans have a slight concern about it. But Kirby Smart asked about, do you coach him any different? Is this a big problem? I want you to hear his answer.
Well, I think the way it is 54%, and it's a lot, and it worries me as a coach, but it's not any different probably anywhere else. It's not like anybody's sitting back saying, oh, well, we got 80% guys that have been here and 20% new guys. We have all, as coaches, evolved, and we have more kids coming in the spring. So we've done more with these kids than we've ever done before. I'm talking about spring, walkthrough. Post-spring this year, we even took it and said, you know what, we're going to do 30 minutes a day of football school. We're going to dedicate our time to like football school 101. So the onboarding and the process you go through, the summer plan, every minute we have by NCAA allowed, we use. And we have done more to this point with kids than we've ever done before. So, am I worried? Am I concerned? Yeah, always worried, concerned about new guys, but we've onboarded guys, and we're going to continue to install at a fast rate because we want to see what they can learn, especially during this 2018-20 practice window, and find out who can play football and then move into the season of game planning.
It's Kirby Smart. I think a lot of interesting things there. First of all, obviously acknowledging that this is every school. Right, the 54% of Georgia's roster is either in their first or second year. Right, obviously Georgia prioritizes veterans, and trying to keep guys in the system 2, 3, 4 years, even 5 when applicable. And more than half of the roster will be in their first or second year in Athens. However, you hear what he said about onboarding them faster, right? Doing more in the time allowed, the football school, 30 minutes a day when they're not allowed to practice, right? I think that would be, I wonder how many other teams are doing that. I'm never going to be the one to claim that Georgia's doing, or the only school that's doing something like that. I'm sure there are others. But that sounded like that specifically was a newer thing to Georgia. So I'm wondering how, if that's a thing across the board, or if that's something specific to Kirby Smart and his coaching staff. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of guys that you're learning the names of, probably more this year even than last year. Right? And we're going to get to some of the questions that are surrounding Georgia in their camp battles and stuff like that here in a moment. But the fact that they are the healthiest they've been, and he feels like and Kirby Smart feels like it's been an incredibly productive offseason, kind of ease the concerns, if you will. Why don't we start with Georgia? Look, we're talking biggest camp battles, biggest question marks. And I think for Georgia is twofold. Just how good is their receiving core? Because on paper, Georgia's receiving core this year is the best that I can remember as far as on-paper talent, from Colby Young returning when he was out most of last year. You got Noah Thomas transferring in. You have two guys on the outside that can really stretch it. 6'5", 6'3" between the two of them. And then you add Zach Branch, who was the number one receiver in the portal from USC, as your slot. Right? Not to mention, London Humphreys is like your sixth best option. Dylan Bell's back. He's the most seasoned of all. Didn't even mention him. You got Jacoby White in there as well. So it's the most talent that we've had in the receiver room maybe since like the A.J. Green days. And that's about as far as I go back. I think the biggest question other than that is where are the sacks going to come from for Georgia? Right? Off of the edge, all of the sacks in Georgia's program normally come from the jack position. And they don't have any big returners coming there. They're if you look on their Our Lads on their depth chart, which is about as unofficial as it gets, but still kind of gives you a basis, Elo Madozi's their top dude. And he transferred in from Army. I think he had 6.5 sacks at Army last year. Transferred from West Point. A lot of excitement around him. But certainly unproven in the SEC and unproven at Georgia. Right? You got guys like Quintavious Johnson. Even Chris Cole, who's more of an inside guy, but are they going to push him to the edge a little bit? Where are the sacks coming from for Georgia? I think that's the biggest thing, because I think you have the most discipline, and I think you got the best linebacker room in the country. You're sound in the secondary. You're still looking for your second safety spot to be solidified opposite KJ Bolden, but you're going to be just fine there. Your defensive interior, you're going to be just fine there, led by Kristen Miller, but what about the edge? All right, let's go to UCF. What's the biggest question for UCF this fall? Over these next 4 weeks, it's got to get settled. This one's got to be the easy one. It's got to be the quarterback battle. Right? It's got to be the quarterback battle because, like Georgia's, that you could say that was almost a battle at some point. Was it not? I don't think it ever was. Gunnar Stockton was always going to be the starter this year no matter what. And Kirby's made that abundantly clear. If you look into these kind of things, he sends them to SEC Media Days. Normally, if you send a quarterback to the SEC Media Day, he's going to be your guy. History would tell you. Well, UCF didn't send any quarterbacks. They did not send a quarterback. So who's going to be the guy at UCF, I think it's really still up in the air. I think Mackenzie Milton talked about it earlier this week. And you know, is it just the gamesmanship of not letting anything on, not giving opponents any early ideas, any early indications? Could be. But no, I think this is real. I don't think anybody's separated themselves. Right? Obviously, you got Taven Jackson from Indiana. He's probably got the most arm talent. Definitely got the most arm talent of the four. Between Taven Jackson, Ja'Cory Brown, Fancher, and then you had the late transfer, Davy Belfort, the late transfer from VTech. I think he's the one who's definitely on the outside looking in. But over the other three, Taven's got the most talent. He's probably the most inconsistent. If I had to guess. I mean, highly recruited guy, showed flashes at Indiana and spot time, but how much of the offense does he understand and how much of it can he consistently operate? I think Mackenzie Milton was quoted saying that Taven reproached him over this offseason and asked him, quote, "How do I watch film?" Now, does he get points for being, you know, taking the initiative to ask? I mean, he's 20 and entering, I believe, his third offseason program. So I think he should probably, I think we're not giving necessarily points as much as you haven't figured out how to watch film yet? Indiana didn't teach you? Or did you not want to know? I think that's a concern. I think that's valid. If you don't know how to watch film at this point in the offseason, and I don't know when he asked that. That was a direct quote from Mackenzie Milton, but I don't know when that was. He didn't timestamp it for us. Regardless, I think that's reason for concern. And then you go to Ja'Cory Brown. Right? Obviously, he's the only guy of these four who's actually seen time as the signal caller for UCF. He's the most dynamic. He's the most athletic. He's the least predictable, especially with his arm. A lot of throws that we've seen him make, real head scratchers. But is he kind of the up-tempo kind of guy, best in the RPO, best outside the pocket? Who knows? And Mackenzie Milton says that his accuracy has taken big strides. That's what he said about Ja'Cory Brown. Now, if you believe him, then that's really encouraging, right? Ja'Cory Brown, Randy Connolly's hopping in the chat, says he might be the best quarterback at UCF, and he's a good rusher, too. I agree. But there were times last year where it was about as predictable as it gets. The guy's just not going to be able to beat you over the top. I mean, safeties can practically just stack the box and dare him to throw it over your head. I mean, he can throw it, but where's it going to go? So if he's making strides with his accuracy, that's the biggest thing. And then you have Cam Fancher, transfer from FAU. He's the most experienced of all four of them. But does he even really have a shot? I don't know. He's a lefty. And then you got Belfort. So that's their biggest thing for UCF, undoubtedly, is who the heck is going to play quarterback? And on a roster where there's a lot of questions, but that is the biggest one. You are hoping and praying as a fan, as a coach, as a teammate, that somebody separates themselves over these next 4 weeks before your first week one matchup. Let's go down to Miami. Biggest question, Miami, how healthy is Beck? Is he ready to go? How well does he know the system? Right? And even bigger than that is the relationship with the receivers. Okay, obviously he's cleared. As I mentioned at the top of the show today, Beck is cleared. He's throwing at practice. A couple of videos circulating over social media these last couple of days. Definitely piquing the interest of the Miami faithful. He looks good for what a practice video can be. Looks like he's going to be full go. He's got a whole new system that he's just now really getting into, and he's got a whole new group of receivers that are not just new to him. The receivers are new to the program, right? C.J. Daniels from LSU, and then Tony Johnson. They don't have a returning receiver. Point blank period, I don't think that's going to see substantial time at least in the first half of the season, if at all. So how well can Beck learn the system, but also the timing with the receivers? I mean, I forget who Miami's got off the top of the season, but obviously, as we mentioned, they got Florida. They're hosting Florida week 4. Will the offense be in full swing by that time? I think there's a better shot that he's in better swing and more comfortable in his offense than maybe Lagway is with his receivers in that offense. Again, Beck's a pro. If he's got anything, he's got the brain. Right? And he's definitely got the arm. Does he have the mobility? Does he have the decision-making in the moment? That's what failed him last season at times. But as far as pre-snap, I don't know if there's anybody better in football. I really don't. Man, I can't wait for that matchup. Miami and Florida. Let's go to Florida now. Obviously, the biggest question with them is Lagway's injury. And again, that's the relationship with the receivers. That's the common theme in camp. Is what's the relationship with the receivers? What's that depth chart on the receiver end going to look like? Because look, as I've mentioned, it's not only Lagway coming back for the first time and getting consistent practice in whenever that actually happens, but this is not Chim DK and Elijah Badger of last year. That'd be one thing. It's a whole nother thing that Trey Wilson is coming back, yes, but your two guys are Dallas Wilson and Sturdivant. Sturdivant, obviously, the transfer from UCLA, who didn't get a whole lot of time there. And Dallas Wilson, true freshman. It's a whole new passing attack in Gainesville. Is 4 weeks enough? We'll see. But I don't know. And I think there should be reason for concern. Obviously, Florida has more starters, or not necessarily starters, but more experience. Other than Sturdivant, I believe they've got one transfer who's expected to start on defense. I could be wrong. But I think that's where things are leading. They have a lot of guys returning, not necessarily starters from last year. They do on the offensive line and on the defensive line, a couple pieces in the secondary. But they've kept everything within house. Florida has very few transfers that are expected to play a role this season. So it's going to be up to their coaching staff to further develop the guys that have already been there. Last but not least, we got to go to FSU. FSU, by the way, completely scrapping the media availability in practice and all that stuff. We told you about that, I think, 6 months ago, that Norvell was trending that way. He should have done it last year. He didn't do it, but he probably his hand side couldn't do it in the middle of the season because that's a really bad look if you 2-6 or whatever, and then you scrap it. It's got to be an off-season pull. He does it. So a lot less media access out there in Tallahassee. But their biggest question of the offseason is, what do Norvell and Malzahn do with Castellanos? What are they able to conjure up? What kind of offense are they able to come up with? I don't know if I'm an FSU, and we talked a lot about FSU last week and their expectations for the offense. Castellanos with all the mess he's talking about Bama. I don't know if you want Norvell to have the majority say and have his hands all over Castellanos, and Malzahn's playing a backseat, or the other way around. I think because which one do you trust? Malzahn failed last year with KJ and failed really offensively at UCF in his entire tenure. Norvell was a disaster offensively, picking DJU last year. You have 3 total returners on offense at FSU, huge question mark. Obviously, Deuce Robinson, highly touted transfer, Squirrel White as well. But more questions than answers in Tallahassee. That's going to do it. I think I just spilled my water a little bit. We're all good here. It's going to do it for Stadium Pulse, presented by Nimnick Buick GMC. Get over 2 locations on Cassett Avenue and Phillips Highway. Check them out. And we're going to be back next Friday. 4 more weeks, guys. 4 more weeks. It's August. It's football time. Coming up in 5 minutes, the Britton Austin Show takes over. We got a stadium scrimmage at Everbank tonight for the Jaguars. But before that, all day at Everbank, we got high school football media day, so stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll see you next time. Have a good Friday.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience.